before I get into the blood pressure, I want to really say a little bit about understanding what health is, because if we try to approach blood pressure the way how it's conventionally done, we're not going to eradicate it. Now, we're not talking about how to control it naturally, we're talking about how to get rid of it permanently. 20 years ago, or over 20 years ago, I lived on hypertensive medication for about 3 years. I was told I would have to live on it for the rest of my life, just like most people with hypertension are told. And this is over 20 years now I don't take the hypertensive medication. We have to be willing to make some changes, and the changes is not just with diet, as we will see how it all goes. So before I get into that, I just want to just say a little bit about understanding what health is from a perspective that is not usually used in the healthcare industry. And I like to start with what Dr. Albertson Georgie said, that most people don't understand what health is because most of us are occupied in killing ourselves slowly. That really speaks about a mindset that we need to really change. Most of us, or many of us I should say, we would engage in habits and behaviors that will tend to be detrimental to ourselves, and even though we know it is so, we would still continue in doing that. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Many people are, how would we change our circumstances if we know what we are doing is not right, but yet we continue in it? We would find that that does not only just translate into what we are doing physically for our health, it translates right across the board in our life. And so our life becomes compromised. You see, we cannot separate our life from what we call our health. And we need to come to the understanding that every area of our life, every single aspect of our life makes up what we call our health. And so when we look at maintaining good health, overcoming illness and preventing illness, living a long, healthy and disease-free life, which is possible, we also need to understand that we have to look at health in its entire context. And so we like to use the definition that comes from the World Authority, the World Health Organization, which says, health is a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. If you look at that and examine it carefully, is there any area of your life that is not caught up inside of that? Is there? Yes? No? Is there some area of your life that's not in that? Or was the yes that there is no area that's not in that? Everything physical about our life, from the things we eat, to whether we exercise, get enough rest, every physical aspect of our life is in that. Every mental aspect, from the way we think, our whole thought life, how we process, how we manage stress, how we judge, how we form opinions, how we transpose ideas, every aspect of our thinking is caught up in that. Every aspect of our spiritual life, our relationship with people, our relationship with God, whether we live by truth, trust, faith, however you call it, every aspect of our physical life is caught up in what they call health. And the social aspect, which is communicating with people, relating with others, living in a world in a social framework with people that have differences, people that have different backgrounds, people that have different opinions, where we can have disagreements quite easily, being able to live in a social framework and still find physical, mental, and spiritual balance. So you see, health is really about our entire life. Would you agree to that? And so we cannot separate the way we live, the way we think, the way we function in life from what they call health. So we need to, when we look at this and examine that statement, we need to understand we have to move away from the mindset that society has given us, that is the absence of disease or infirmity. And I'm saying this, I'm trying to tell a story here as we work into understanding blood pressure and how to get rid of it. I'm trying to tell a story that we need to start shifting, changing our thinking. This is not about changing our diet alone, it starts by changing our thinking. If we think that we feel well, or that all is well, or that we're in good health because we don't feel sick, we are going to guarantee sickness with that type of thinking. Because we will not engage in the behaviors and lifestyles that we know that we ought to, because we think everything is well already. And so it is not the absence of disease or infirmity, nor is health just about your body. That's another mindset we have. That it's only about what we eat and how we treat our bodies, how the body feels, how the body functions. Isn't that true? And so we want to move beyond thinking that health is just about the body and understand that health is really a complete state. Complete meaning that absolutely nothing in your life is missing out of this equation. Your entire life, physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially, this is what makes up health. And if we're going to talk about reversing conditions, I want to tell you quite boldly, without any reservation, that there's absolutely no condition on this planet that cannot be reversed. You may call it AIDS, that could be reversed. Cancer, it doesn't matter what you call it. There's that. Now that may sound like a very bold and off-side statement because of how we're accustomed of thinking about health and what we've been conditioned to think about it. But when we understand health in its entire context, and what we can get into, which is why we like to encourage people, if you come to these seminars regularly, as we go through different aspects of understanding it, when you start to piece the puzzle of the whole together, you'll understand that there's really nothing that cannot be reversed. But it goes way beyond just changing diet, as we are accustomed to thinking. So we understand now that health is a dynamic state of complete wholeness of being. And it's being able to achieve and being able to maintain balance physically, mentally, and spiritually within the social framework of life. If we can learn to do that, we can overcome it.